In 1966, one of the most famous UFO sightings in the history of Australia occurred. Over 200 witnesses would report seeing an unidentified flying object near the city of Melbourne. The case garnered national attention, and today many witnesses remain adamant about what they saw that day. That said, despite looking like a rock-solid UFO case, the case has somewhat been a victim of its own success, as individuals pretending to have seen the event have provided inconsistent details, leading some to doubt the case. In this episode, we will examine this mass UFO sighting from Australia, an incident that has come to be known as the Westall UFO Event. On April 6, 1966, just outside Melbourne, Australia, around 11 a.m. local time, students at Westall Secondary School were outside playing when suddenly a strange craft would pop into sight. It would descend down close to the fields, and soon both students and teachers stopped what they were doing and began rushing over to get a closer view of the UFO. It was silver and saucer-shaped, with a dome on top, and was about twice the size of a station wagon. Also, it gave off some sort of purplish hue. The craft then hovered over and would descend behind some trees into an area known as the Grange. At this point, more people would come out and witness the craft as well. After around 20 minutes, the craft would ascend and then would quickly dart off to the northwest. Some say 5 fighter pilot jets arrived on the scene, and that scared off the UFO. In addition, they say the pilots chased the craft. However, it's not known if this actually happened. After the event, some witnesses, primarily students, walked over to the Grange, or the UFO landing site. According to reports, there were 1 to 3 patches of grass that were burnt or damaged. Reports vary on the details, but it does seem that the ground and landscape was damaged. The military then showed up and began to question witnesses, and according to some accounts, even threaten individuals. In the days that followed, the press would pick up the story and run with it. The Dandong Journal ran a front-page story on April 14th and covered the story for quite some time. Other newspapers, like The Age, covered the story too. The Sun and the Herald newspapers published articles and cartoons poking fun at the incident. While the Westall UFO event might not have the intrigue and horror of many of the alien abduction and alien encounters we've covered, something was surely up in the sky that day. Cases with mass witnesses are always one that even skeptics have to take seriously. Still though, that hasn't stopped many from putting forth theories over the years. According to skeptic Keith Basterfield, a runaway balloon from the H-Ball high-altitude balloon project might have been what the witnesses saw. The balloon was being used to monitor radiation. Basterfield found documents in the National Archives and former Department of Supply showing a test balloon launched from Mildura on that day and could have been blown off course. Still, this theory seems like a long shot, as Mildura is more than 500 kilometers away. Weather balloons have been proposed as an explanation by many, and this is not surprising. Weather balloons have been named as the culprit in a number of high-profile UFO cases like Roswell. Still, based on the behavior of the UFO and the witness's description, a weather balloon doesn't seem very likely. The craft was said to have a dome top, and also it was able to descend and ascend seemingly all by itself. In addition, the object was saucer-shaped and silver, both common characteristics reported by many UFO witnesses. Over the years, there's been numerous documentaries and in-depth looks of this event, including interviews with witnesses. As mentioned earlier, there appears to be contradictions in many of the accounts. Some say 3 crafts were actually there that day. Some also say that several smaller UFOs, similar in size and shape, but smaller, accompanied the UFO. Mass UFO sightings, although more rare, are not completely unheard of. Canada had a massive UFO sighting decades ago in Shag Harbor. In 1954, tens of thousands would witness several crafts flying over a soccer stadium during a game in Italy. In Zimbabwe in the mid-1990s, around 60 children playing outside would witness a UFO land and also interact with several extraterrestrials. The children, who are now adults, have all remained adamant around the events of that day. In the United States in 1997, a series of lights would flash in the city of Phoenix, Arizona. Hundreds, maybe thousands, would see the lights, and many would photograph and videotape the events. Unfortunately, the event would not be taken seriously by local officials, and many skeptics would attribute the event to military exercises. Of course, these explanations fail the sniff test. One military explanation is that it was a V formation of fighter pilot jets. The glaring issue with the explanation, though, is that the lights, which can be seen in many videos, are stationary. Skeptics say it was a formation of Fairchild Republic A-10 Thunderbolt II jets, but of course, these jets cannot hover in place. Another explanation for that night is that the Phoenix lights were military flares. Once again, though, the lights don't appear to be descending and seem to be stationary. With so many mass sightings, it seems we are due to have another one. The Westall sighting was a terrific one, like Zimbabwe, because it occurred during the daytime. Today, with nearly everyone having a cell phone in their pocket, if this were to occur, the proof would be indisputable. With one or two cameras, skeptics can allege a deepfake, but with numerous cameras at numerous angles and witnesses, it would surely be the final nail in the coffin around whether these beings exist. Of course, after this, we would move on to other questions that won't be as simple to answer. What do these beings want? Are they in contact with our governments? How many species are out there? Do we already have their technology? These are just a few of the many questions people like myself are curious to know.